welcome you to Curacao, where match day 4 in Group B of Concacaf men's Under-20 qualifying gets underway. It is Turks and Caicos and Bonaire in a clash of Caribbean nations. And we welcome you back to Curacao, where we take a peek at our full-time highlights in the first of 3 fixtures in Group B this afternoon. Turks and Caicos and Bonaire meeting for the first time ever. Bonaire hunting a historic first ever victory in U20 qualifying against a side in Turks and Caicos that has also struggled in this competition. And Bonaire got off to a fast start, but just couldn't find a way through for large periods. And ultimately, it looked like they might pay the price for that lack of clinical finishing, because on the other end, with the first real foray forward, Skylar Selver produced a spectacular to power Turks and Caicos in front on 10 minutes. And it looked like the side that was favored on paper might just be in line to claim victory. But then right before halftime, Isenia upended by the then goalkeeper in LeSean Green. It sets up Ivar Bacalar on the penalty spot from 12 yards. After Green was shown a yellow, could have very well been shown red on a different day, and Bacalar made no mistakes. For the second consecutive match, equalizing for Bonaire and powering them onto a level playing field before halftime. And at halftime, Bonaire definitely the happier of the two sides, dominant, and they had control of the game. And as the second half wore on, they were eventually able to make Turks and Caicos crack. There was one chance in the first half for Selver. This is right before halftime. He was able to cut inside on that right foot and sting the palms of Cecilia, but this time he just about covers his near post after failing to do so on the previous occasion, and Selver denied a brace before intermission. Our halftime whistle would sound shortly after that, and the scoreline would read 1-1. And we knew we'd be in line for a fun conclusion to this fixture. Both squads scratching and clawing for a monumental victory. And as we got back underway, it was more of the same from Bonaire, just dominant, creating chance after chance, but unable to find the final touch, the final blow for large spells. This a long-range effort from Von Ryan that just sailed over the bar. It was always rising, never dipping, but at least drew the reserve goalkeeper Harvey's attention, and that really set the tone for the remainder of this second half. Bonaire first to a lot of these second balls. There were some issues of discipline on both sides, but no one sent off, and as we wore on and on, we finally would see the magical moment for Timothy Mueller and the Caribbean Warriors, consistently catching them out. And then this run, well-timed, well-fielded ball, and on the second touch, Mueller knuckles it into the near post. There is a slight touch there from Harvey, but it's not enough. Just tremendous technique. And on 79 minutes, he powered Bonaire to their first ever lead in the competition. And they would hold on from that point forward. Some slight instances in which maybe there was some doubt that crept in, but no clear-cut chances on Denyor Cecilia's goal. And the full-time whistle has sounded. For the first time ever, Bonaire pulls off a victory in Concacaf Under-20 qualifying. We welcome you to Curacao, where the penultimate match day in Group B of Concacaf Under-20 qualifying rages on. It is a Puerto Rico side looking to keep pace atop the group against Cayman Islands. Now, where we take a peek at our full-time highlights in this fixture between Puerto Rico and the Cayman Islands. The second of 3 matches on the penultimate match day in Group B. Puerto Rico entering knowing that 3 points puts the pressure on Jamaica ahead of their fixture later tonight. And they came out all business on the front foot from the get-go, but the issue was they couldn't unlock the Cayman Islands for the better part of a half hour, hit the woodwork twice in that span, the first coming via the boot of Holdy Diaz, who just poked at it and put too much lift under it. Nearly was able to roof the net. Instead, it traveled a touch too high, even though it had Aiden McLean beaten. And then on a corner, a flick-on header from Adrian Rosario kissing off the far post. That another chance to open the scoreline. And it was a long period of frustration for Puerto Rico until finally on 31 minutes, they breached Cayman Islands' defenses. Diaz around multiple defenders. He leaves Fred Booth Jr. in the dust and then plays a sensational cutback right into the path of the goal scorer Antonio Delgado. All he has to do from there is square it, and he does just that to make it 1-0 to El Huracan Azul after 31 minutes. And then 4 minutes later, just a miscalculation for both Nasir Smith and Aiden McLean. McLean daring to come off his line. Smith wants to leave it for him, and Burgos just splits the two and knocks it home. And he made it 2-0 on 35 minutes. From there, Puerto Rico continuing to push on and hunt more carnage before the break. They nearly had it through this long through ball, and then an excellent one-touch ball from Marquez. Ultimately a quality save from McLean. And then in the second half, things dialed down a little bit. It was 2-0 at halftime. I think Puerto Rico knew that they had this thing all but sealed. And from there, they played a keep-away game for large spells of the second half. There were half chances, moments for Huracán Azul, and the Cayman Islands did have a decent chance themselves here. This cross that at least stung the palms of Reef Brain. But other than that, they could not create much of consequence and pull themselves back into this game. Had a couple of moments where they could latch onto it and at least make the Puerto Rican backline scramble, but with how organized Puerto Rico was and their ability to just maintain possession, they were able to take the sting out of things rather quickly. And when it came to who looked more likely to score by the end of the game, Puerto Rico 2-0 victors in their penultimate match of Group B. They climb back atop the group, and they set up a decisive group fixture against Jamaica on the final day. A pleasant good evening from Curacao, where the penultimate match day has its final match in store. Jamaica against St. Kitts and Nevis, with the Reggae Boys looking to keep pace. And we welcome you back to Curacao, where we take a look at our full-time highlights in this key clash between Jamaica and St. Kitts and Nevis. Jamaica entered knowing they needed a win to keep pace with Puerto Rico and reclaim their spot atop the group, and well, they did just that, and did so in emphatic fashion against the St. Kitts and Nevis squad that already knew their fate following Puerto Rico's 2-0 victory over the Cayman Islands. They were eliminated. They came in playing for pride. Unfortunately for them, though, Jamaica got off to a fast start and never really took their foot off the gas. A number of crosses that they couldn't turn home early, but on 10 minutes they would eventually strike, and from there, the goal barrage started. Jamaica really making a statement here ahead of that Puerto Rico match, saying, look, I think we're ready for this match coming up, and we're ready for the tournament should we qualify. That first goal from Leighton opened things up, and then the second from Jabari Howell after they win it back upfield just 2 minutes later, and Jamaica was in the driver's seat from there. There were chances the other way for St. Kitts and Nevis, but the issue was Jamaica took all of theirs, and St. Kitts and Nevis could not take many of theirs. This was the big chance. A double save from Joshua Grant denies his counterpart twice after this was threaded through to Akanye Samuel Francis, who was tenacious but wasn't rewarded for said tenacity. And then the third goal would fly in before halftime after Jamari Nolan was pushed over in the area. It set him up from 12 yards to capitalize. You see Nolan here. The shove in the back is what draws the referee's attention. It's not the goalkeeper rushing out, because it appeared Ashon Maynard actually avoided a collision with Nolan. Didn't matter anyways, because when Nolan stepped up, he slotted home despite Maynard guessing the right way. And before halftime, Jamaica in the driver's seat. A game where maybe on a different day it could have been 2-1 heading into the break. Instead, it was 3-0. They hit the crossbar one more time as well after this terrific save from Joshua Grant. It's an in-swinging free kick. It looked like Grant got a touch to it before it hit the crossbar. And you could feel St. Kitts and Nevis was maybe a little hard done by, just because in that first half, two glaring chances to grab a goal, and instead they found themselves trailing by 3. And then in the second half, that's when things really unraveled for St. Kitts and Nevis. A penalty here, it allows the Raekwon Campbell-Dennis, the midfielder, to step up and drive it in to make it 4-0, and then that is where the goal party really was kick-started. Sean Layton adding his brace in unreal fashion. One of the goals of the week. He heads this down, and then on the half volley, bar down, top corner. That is an unreal goal, especially at the U20 level. There is really nothing that anyone could do about that as a goalkeeper. And then the sixth added on by Jamoy Dennis, the first of his 2 goals. A flick-on header in which he was first to, and again, no chance for Maynard. The goal quality in this second half, remarkable. Orel Miller, this is the one where maybe you can argue Maynard should do better, but he put so much behind it to make it 7-0. And then as the half wore on and on and on, Jamaica was just able to see this out, and they would add one more before the day was done. There was another chance for St. Kitts and Nevis in the second half. Samuel Francis playing in a real appetizing cross, ultimately a header though off the bar, and Joshua Grant's clean sheet maintained before they added the 8th and final goal, and another really terrific finish. Jamoy Dennis driving this in from a tight angle. You see him just get on the end of this, put his laces through it, and find the opposite top corner. Multiple goals of upper echelon quality. Jamaica domination. An 8-0 victory over St. Kitts and Nevis to reclaim their spot atop the group. 6 different goal scorers, 2 players with braces, including that man Jamoy Dennis and Sean Layton.